What's up, guys? I'm Tim. Thanks for checking out my Sports Focus. This time I'm going to be continuing my coverage of the top prospects in Major League Baseball. If you haven't already seen my video about the Chicago Cubs top prospects, go ahead and click the link in the description below. This time, though, we're going to be continuing with the NL Central, the Cubs rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals, and their top prospects. Coming in at number 5, guys, is Marco Gonzalez, a 6', 185-pound lefty out of Gonzaga, drafted in the 2013 draft. Right off the bat, guys, something that you should know about Marco Gonzalez is that he's not going to blow you away with his fastball. He commands his fastball well throughout the strike zone, and it's from 88 to 92 miles an hour, approximately, give or take a few, depending on the day. But he really commands it well, and he's able to make it look like it's actually coming a little bit harder because he's got a slow, smooth delivery, and the ball seems to pop out of his hands and sneak up on professional baseball players. The second pitch I'm going to be talking to you guys about is his curveball. He's got two different variations of it. The first one is going to be his get-me-over, pitch backwards, I guess you could say, type pitch. It's going to come in at the mid-70s, and it's going to be more of a loopy curveball that he uses at the beginning of a count to get ahead of middle-of-the-order hitters. His second curveball is going to come in upper 70s, lower 80s. It's a much tighter, downward action, tight spin to it, tight break, and he uses it, starts at waist level, and it's going to break it out of the zone to get hitters to chase. But finally, guys, the best pitch in Gonzalez's arsenal is his changeup, without a doubt. It possesses significant arm side fade. It's in the same arm slot as his fastball, and it's from 75 to 78 miles an hour, giving him a solid, 10-15 miles an hour off of his fastball. Keeps hitters off guard and gets hitters to swing through it all the time with it. All in all, this is a guy who's going to pitch backwards. He's going to be creative. He's going to pitch in and out, up and down. He's going to keep guys off balance. He's not going to strike out a ton of guys, but he's going to get weak swings that are going to provide his team with a lot of easy outs. His ceiling, I see his ceiling as a number 3, number 4 starter for pretty average rotation. He's not going to be a top-of-the-line starter, but he is going to be a solid number 3, solid number 4 type guy, maybe a number 5. And I see him maybe not getting a lot of time in the St. Louis rotation or bullpen right now, as they got a lot of young arms, a lot of depth in their rotation. It is going to allow him to develop his pitches a little bit more in the 2014 season, but I would look forward to seeing Gonzalez in the 2015 season. Coming in at number 4, guys, is a first-round supplemental draft pick out of Stanford in 2012. He's a 6'3", 210-pound right-handed corner outfielder making a smooth transition from third base to the corner outfield. His name is Stephen Piscotty, and this is a guy that you should familiarize yourself with as he approaches his big league debut with the St. Louis Cardinals, probably this year in 2014. This guy will continue to fly under the radar with guys ahead of him like Colton Wong and Oscar Taveras, and some of the other guys that we're going to get to here in a second. But this guy comes in at number 4 because he can hit from line to line. He's not afraid to go the other way with the ball. He does not. He does have exceptional gap power. He'll hit both gaps with exceptional power. Does have that extra base threat. Unfortunately, the one downside to him is he does not possess the type of power that you would like to see ideally out of a corner outfielder. He's not going to be a guy who puts up more than maybe 15 home runs a year. He's not the type of power guy that you want in the corner outfield. But his ceiling, I do see him as a second division starter, and on a team like the Cardinals, he probably won't find himself in the starting lineup too much. He's going to have to really work for it, but he will be a useful tool off the bench and kind of an outfield utility player. Coming in at number 3, guys, drafted in the first round in 2011 out of Hawaii, is 5'9", 185-pound second baseman, 23-year-old Colton Wong. Colton Wong is a guy that we already saw may made his debut in 2013 with the St. Louis Cardinals, but he still qualifies as a prospect as he did not reach that 130 at-bat minimum, which still makes him, still qualifies him as a rookie coming into this year, still allowing him to make this prospect list. Now, Colton Wong is a top-of-the-order guy. Unique thing is that he plays second base. He's a right-handed thrower, but he hits from the left side of the plate. This is a good thing to have at the top of the order. He doesn't have exceptional speed as a top-of-the-order guy, but he does have a high baseball IQ, and his defense is big league ready, although he doesn't have a whole lot of confidence going to his backhand. One thing that scouts are a little bit iffy on is his ability to go to backhand, and his lack of an arm will limit him pretty much to a career at second base, as his arm will not allow him to play third, short, or an outfield position. Coming in at number 2, guys, drafted in 2008 out of the Dominican Republic, 6'2", 200 pounds, Oscar Taveras. Some of you might be yelling at the screen right now saying, how is he number 2? Who could you possibly have in front of him? We'll get to that in a second. The only reason why I bumped him down to number 2, because originally I had him at number 1. I bumped him down to number 2 because I'm a little bit worried at what will happen as he comes back and rehabs an ankle that he's had problems with in the 2013 season. It sidelined him 3 separate times and ended with him needing to get that ankle surgically repaired. Now, there's no doubt that this guy is probably the most talented all-around player in the Cardinals organization, but for that reason I'm a little bit hesitant to put him at number 1, and I'll get to my number 1 pick in a second. No doubt Oscar Taveras is going to be one of the up-and-coming premier outfielders in Major League Baseball. This guy's a stud. He's a left-handed hitter who employs a powerful yet smooth swing through the zone. He can cover the plate with the best of them. Tremendous pitch selection and plate vision. This guy does not strike out a whole lot at all, but he also doesn't walk a lot. So that means he's putting a lot of balls in play. He's going to bat for a high average, and he's going to hit 25 plus home runs when he reaches his potential. Coming in at number 1, though, guys, my favorite St. Louis Cardinals top prospect, signed in 2010 out of the Dominican Republic. He's 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, 22-year-old flamethrower, Little Pedro Carlos Martinez. His four-seam fastball and his arm speed is what a lot of people compare to Pedro Martinez, and what gives him the nickname Little Pedro. This guy has an explosive four-seam fastball in the upper 90s that he hits consistently. He also has a heavy sinking fastball that is just a few ticks lower than his upper 90s four-seam fastball, and this gets a ton of ground balls. His second pitch after his fastball, or his variations of fastballs I should say, is his slider, which he throws with power in the low 80s with a sharp biting effect to his glove side that'll take righties out of the zone away, and he can use it under the hands of lefties or backdoor lefties with it. Now, lefties combined hit 326 off him last season in his short sample size 28 innings. Now, 326 against lefties, that's obviously a number that has to come way down, but that's where his changeup comes in. This changeup is really going to be what is vital to his success in the big leagues, especially as he becomes a starter, which Mike Matheny has said he will have a legitimate shot to win a role in the starting rotation for the 2014 season. That's where they want him to be. If he can't make that rotation, we'll still see him in the bullpen, but they'd like to see him in the starting rotation. If he's going to be successful in the rotation, he's going to have to be able to utilize that changeup, which is scouted as his best pitch, which when you talk about his upper 90s four-seam fastball, his mid-90s heavy sinker, his great hard biting slider, it's really hard to imagine that his changeup, which we haven't really seen a whole lot of could actually be his best pitch. It fades, it just drops and fades away from a lefty, and that's really what he's going to have to rely on against lefties. Again, lefties last season hitting 326 off him, and he basically shut down righties. If he can really start to use that changeup effectively and learn how to pitch a little bit better as opposed to just throwing, this guy I like as a dominant a dominant starting pitcher, and I see his ceiling being a solid number 2 in Major League Baseball, even in this Cardinals rotation. I really truly believe he's the Cardinals' top prospect. I know we talked about guys like Taveras, Wong, but really he's the number 1 prospect in my opinion. You can make an argument with Taveras, who's going to be a phenomenal player as well. Let me know what you guys think, though. Hit me up in the comments. Who do you guys have, in what order? Who did I leave off that you would put in the top 5 prospects for St. Louis? Let me know, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more baseball content coming up. I'm going to continue my prospect series here for all the teams in baseball, and then move on to my 2014 Major League Baseball predictions. So again, thanks for watching, guys.